The most central concept that Durkheim gives us, the concept that really anchors his entire theoretical approach, is the concept of social solidarity. So in this video, we're going to begin thinking through and coming to understand what exactly this means and why it is so important for Durkheim. And we're going to do it here by way of looking at his very important text, The Elementary Forms of Religious Life, sometimes just sort of abbreviated to the Elementary Forms. And it's in this piece, this is actually his last, the last published work he gives us. But in this piece, in this work, he really sort of focuses in on what religion is, how religion is expressed within society, and what this means for social order. And he does this by way of focusing in on a particular early form of religious life, totemism. In his day, and as far as I know today, this is the earliest known form of religion in human society. So he's going to focus in on totemism and sort of ask a set of questions about what that can tell us about religion, what it can tell us about society, and most importantly, what it can tell us about social solidarity. So let's start by asking two questions. First, why does Durkheim analyze religion? And the real reason that he analyzes religion is really a twofold answer to this. One is that he wants to demonstrate the essentially social nature of religion. He wants us to see that underneath religion is a social structure, a social way of understanding. So there are social processes that produce for us what religion is. And secondly, and perhaps more importantly than that, he wants us to see that religion is an expression of society itself. So religion is not merely its own social institution, but is the social institution that expresses all of human society. And this is particularly true and particularly important in early human societies. So why then does he focus in on the earliest form of religion? And here he wants us to see the basic fundamental elements of religion itself. So the point of looking at the earliest forms of religion is that it's in these early forms that we can see the very basic elements of society before religions layer on top all kinds of other things and sort of religion gets more complex. By studying the earliest form of religion, you can see what it is that makes religion what religion is, right? That is, you can see the basic parts of religion. And in that, we can see that religion is that sui generis formation. It's this sort of phenomenon unto itself. And we can see then, if religion is an expression of society itself, we're actually seeing the sui generis elements of society by looking at the earliest forms of religion. All right, so that's what he's doing in the elementary forms. That's what he's analyzing, but what does this actually tell us about the fundamental concepts of social solidarity? That is, what does his analysis of religion tell us about society and social order writ large? Remember, this is what we're trying to figure out. This is what Hobbes was trying to figure out, and here we're going to see this is what Durkheim is trying to figure out. What is the basis of social order? And so in doing this, this is again the key point of his analysis. And in doing this, he really sees that there are a set of fundamental social facts that produce social order that are producing religion here. So there's a set of social facts. Religion then should be understood as a social fact that is being that we can relate back to antecedent social facts. And so this is what these social facts are. So the first of these is categories of understanding. Right, and you can see him lay this out on page 246 of your text. Categories of understanding are the basic sort of ways in which we come to understand our world. They're the different categories that are sort of presented to us of things that exist in the world, and they frame then our own worldview, our way of understanding and experiencing the world. So he talks about time and space as fundamental organizing concepts of human cognition, and the way in which we organize those particular categories then shapes how we experience and understand the world. And this gets us to his second sort of fundamental social fact, collective consciousness. And this is a really big social fact for Durkheim, and this is one that he's pretty widely known for. The collective consciousness really for Durkheim is a set of shared norms, values, beliefs, worldviews, understandings, right? So it's really, you could think of the collective consciousness as the shared understandings of these categories of understanding, right? The collective consciousness is the way of viewing the world, the particular values that we hold, the particular norms and expectations that we have that we share across members of a particular society. And in early human societies, the collective consciousness, Durkheim wants to point out, was extremely strong. That is, the shared understandings, the shared norms and values and beliefs were very impactful on individual consciousnesses. So he distinguishes between collective consciousnesses and individual consciousnesses, right? And again, the collective consciousness is something distinct from our own individual consciousness and from the summation of the individual consciousnesses that we might have. And so this is particularly strong and particularly binding on members of early human societies. And the third social fact that helps produce social order is what he calls collective representations. And these are really kind of tangible, physical symbols of the collective consciousness. So if you think about it in terms of social facts, the collective representations that he's talking about are material social facts that express those non-material social facts of the collective consciousness. Right, so the material social fact is a symbol, right? So the totem is a symbol in early human societies of the religious beliefs and worldviews of those who belonged to the religion. So just in viewing that collective representation, what it sort of reminds everyone of the collective consciousness, of the norms and the shared beliefs and morals and so forth that they all have in that society. So again, think of collective representations as material, physical, tangible, material social facts that express the non-material collective consciousness. And we have these in our own society as well. You can think of the U.S. flag as a material social fact, as a collective representation, and it's representing the collective consciousness of U.S. society. It's representing those beliefs around freedom, around liberty, around equality, some notion of those things that we hold as collective, as part of our collective consciousness, and that is a symbol that expresses those particular values that we hold in our own society. Okay, so how then is society held together, right? And that's the core question that Durkheim is grappling with, and what the whole point of figuring out what these different social facts are, of understanding, the categories of understanding, collective consciousness, and collective representation. And so what we really want to do here at this point, now that we have a sort of understanding of what he's trying to do in the elementary forms of religious life, is to think about how this way of viewing the world, right, of viewing it from this point of view of these particular sets of social facts, how does that challenge Hobbes's particular argument about the social order? Right? If you remember, Hobbes has a contractarian notion or a contractarian solution to the problem of social order. We sort of rationally, consciously enter into a social contract that provides for the social order. How does Durkheim's analysis of religion challenge that particular argument? So that's what you're going to be talking about on the discussion board, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say.